but soon left his business to travel around as a Methodist evangelist under John Wesley's tutelage. In 1965, his ministry was primarily focused among the poor of London's East End. Some evenings he stumbled home, haggard with fatigue, his clothes torn and bloody bandages swathing his head where a stone had struck him. In 1878, Booth began calling his ministry the Salvation Army. And something about that name captured people's imagination. Men, women, and children saw their conversion as leaving their old lives behind to enlist in the new army, the Lord's Army, and the movement spread through England and around the world. That very year, in 1878, a group of Salvation Army workers sought to establish a ministry in Salisbury, about 90 miles west of London, and they were treated badly, bricks and eggs flying in their direction whenever they tried to preach on the streets. There lived in Salisbury a local builder and an amateur musician called Charles Fry. Now, if you look at your song, now you see the connection. Okay? An active layman in the Methodist Church. Seeing the abuse hurled at the Salvation Army workers, Charles offered, along with his 3 strapping sons, musicians all, to serve as bodyguards. The next day, the 4 Frys showed up bearing their weapons: 2 cornets, a trombone, and a small tuba. Between fighting off hooligans, the 4 drew crowds for the preachers with their music. Thus was born the first of the now famous Salvation Army Brass Band. In 1881, Charles Fry wrote the words, "The Lily of the Valley." It was published that year in December 29th, and it was issued in the Salvation Army magazine, a war cry. The next August, Charles passed away. Another verse he had written was inscribed on his grave. "The former things are past, and ended is the strife. I'm safe home at last. I live an endless life. Let us stand and sing the Lily of the Valley."